What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video here on B-Mills Wrestling. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys 5 WWE superstars that I think have the potential to be John Cena's final opponent in December. Before we get into the video, if you guys are not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. And don't forget to leave a like down below. Alright guys, let's get into the video. The first superstar that I have on this list is probably the most unlikely, but for the storyline, it makes the most sense. And I'm talking about the final boss, The Rock. Yes, the guy who doesn't show up to pay off storylines, as we've seen with this whole John Cena, Cody Rhodes fiasco. Nowhere to be found at WrestleMania 41. Nowhere to be found at SummerSlam. I think that it might just be done. Don't think we will see the final boss ever again, especially if it's not the comeback for John Cena. But if he did come back, I think, obviously, him being John Cena's final opponent would make sense because of the history there. Obviously, they've had 2 matches in the past, WrestleMania 28, WrestleMania 29. They're 1-1 in those matches. And then, obviously, like I said, this whole storyline of John Cena selling out to The Rock back at Elimination Chamber, going on to win the title at WrestleMania, but obviously not really giving us a reason as to why, and then The Rock just not showing up. So the whole storyline, it just hasn't been there. But, obviously, John Cena turned babyface at SummerSlam, getting defeated by Cody Rhodes, losing the title. So, in The Rock's eyes, he could have gone soft, right? So, The Rock would have a legitimate reason to come back and, come after John Cena and potentially be his final opponent. Like I said, I just think this is so unlikely because I don't think The Rock's ego is going to allow him to, lose to John Cena in his retirement match and then, have, John Cena be 2-1 against him in his career. Because I do think if The Rock was John Cena's final opponent, John Cena would have to win that. Like, if you had Cena lose that, I feel like that would absolutely suck. I'm going to get into the other guys, but I think if John Cena would go against, like, a veteran like The Rock, I feel like he should win. I have younger superstars on this list I'm going to talk about. I think that those are the people that he should put over in his last match. But if it's The Rock, I think he would absolutely have to win. But like I said, I don't think The Rock would show up and, lose to John Cena on a Saturday night's main event in December. The Rock literally only does WrestleManias, and he doesn't even show up for WrestleManias. So to think that he would do a special PLE or Saturday night's main event for John Cena's final match in December is hilarious. Like I said, this is very unlikely, but storyline-wise, it would probably make sense. The second person I have on this list is Gunther. I think Gunther is, probably the most likely because of the rumors that we heard that Gunther is planned and penciled in to be John Cena's final opponent. Obviously, that could be fake. It could also just not go through. Obviously, a lot of things can happen between now and December, but I don't know if I would particularly like this. I know that he retired Goldberg, so maybe WWE is trying to make him into this, Randy Orton legend killer type of guy who just retires legends. But I don't really want this for John Cena's final match. I don't think it really does anything for Gunther. Gunther already has a lot of heat on him. He is one of the best heels in the business, I will say. But I don't know if this storyline would deliver. I don't know. And then John Cena just absolutely destroyed the entire match and loses because I would expect John Cena to put over a guy like Gunther. But like the way that Gunther's style is, I feel like John Cena would just endure a bunch of chops and lose the match. I don't really want to see that in John Cena's retirement match. Like, I just don't want to see that. But like I said, like Gunther, like being the big bad heel, John Cena being the over babyface, like it makes sense. But at the same time, I feel like Gunther's storylines don't deliver. I like Gunther, and I like him in the ring, but like his storylines, they really don't deliver for me. Like him and Jey Uso, I didn't care about them like that much. Him and CM Punk, it was okay, but nothing great. So I don't feel like him and John Cena can really have a crazy storyline going into that match. Obviously that's assuming they would. Obviously they could go a route where John Cena issues an open challenge for his last match. I'm not sure what they're going to do. But as for Gunther being his final opponent, I wouldn't hate it, but I just feel like there is a couple of better options. That brings me to the third person that I have on this list, and that is Drew McIntyre. I would personally really love if this was John Cena's retirement match. I think that Drew McIntyre, obviously he's one of the best heels in the business. And just from a storytelling perspective, Drew's one of the best as well. So a storyline between these two, I feel like could be really, really good. You saw the storyline between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and that was one of the best like we've ever seen. I think this could be, I don't think it would be as good because there's not really that real hatred there. But I feel like they could do some great things within this story between Drew McIntyre and John Cena. I would be fully invested in this. I love Drew McIntyre. He's doesn't need this though. Like, he's already solidified himself as a main event type of guy, a guy who can main event WrestleManias, a guy who can win multiple world championships, a guy who, like I said, is one of the best to do it on the microphone. So, like, him, what does he really gain for beating John Cena in December? I'm not too sure, right? Either way, though, I would really like to see it happen, but I feel like there's other guys that I'm going to talk about that could benefit more from beating John Cena in his retirement tour, because I really just don't see a world where John Cena wins his retirement match, unless, like I said, it is against The Rock. I feel like that makes sense for John to win, but I just don't feel like that's going to happen. I feel like John's going to go against a younger superstar. I know Drew McIntyre is not the youngest guy. He's been around for a little while now, but I would still expect Drew McIntyre to be put over in this match. But like I said, I would really like this, but Drew McIntyre, he just doesn't really need it. Now, moving on to the fourth person on this list, I have Dominic Mysterio. I would really like if it was Dominic Mysterio, just because Dom's 26 years old. He's going to be a future face of the company, probably. Like, he is on an absolute roll right now with the crowd, loving him, right? And he's the Intercontinental Champion. He could become the AAA champion. He could be a double champion within a couple weeks. He is super over right now, whether you want to admit it or not. The amount of, the boos he gets when he tries to talk, like, just the interactions with the crowd. Like, he's always got the crowd invested in what he's doing or saying, and not a lot of people can say that. Dom, he's one of the best right now, one of the best young superstars without a doubt. Him being John Cena's final opponent, I feel like would just make so much sense, because he's been around for 20 years, so he has a little bit of history with John Cena, I guess. But aside from that, I think Dom beating John Cena in his retirement match would give him insane heat. He already has all the boos in the world. Imagine after he beats John Cena in his retirement match. Like, that would be absolutely insane. I would love to see this, just because, like I said, Dom's one of the best young guys in the company. A win over John Cena would help solidify him so much, and maybe even carry him to, like, the world title picture. Obviously, he's in the mid-card right now. I think, within a few years, he can get to that main event picture. Beating John Cena in his retirement match can definitely do that. I would really like to see this. And, obviously he's feuding with a legend in AJ Styles right now. So maybe, they keep giving him these bigger feuds, and then it leads to him versus John Cena in December. I would really like that. Obviously, because John and Ray are great friends as well. And, with Dom being Ray's kid, I just feel like there's a lot to do there. I would really, really like this one. And finally, that brings me to the final superstar that I have on this list. The guy that I would want to be John Cena's last opponent the most, and that is Carmelo Hayes. I think Carmelo Hayes would benefit from this match against John Cena in December the most out of anybody I named on this list, because Carmelo Hayes, obviously, he's one of the young, bright superstars. He was great in NXT. His time there, amazing. He was champion, right? He gets called up to the main roster. He's the first overall pick to Friday Night SmackDown. He goes against Cody Rhodes in his first match. He's going up and pinning guys like Randy Orton, and then has a best of 7 with Andrade, which was amazing. And then he's in the U.S. title picture with LA Knight and Andrade. And then after that, I don't know what they did with him. They just stopped trying. And then he just wasn't on TV for long periods of time, where he was just taking stupid losses or just not involved in anything major. And then obviously they put him into this program with The Miz, which, where has that gone? Right? I thought it was actually building up a little bit, and then he won the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I thought we were going to get somewhere, and then this storyline just stopped. The Miz, I think, went away to film his show or something, and then Melo was just left in the dust, and he wasn't even really seen on TV. So, I don't know. The booking of Carmelo Hayes, I don't know what we're doing, if I'm being honest. This would absolutely save him so much, just because he is, like I said with Dominic Mysterio, one of the best young guys in the company that has the utmost potential to get to the main event scene, to be a guy who's a future world champion, a future WrestleMania main eventer. They just have to try with him. They have to consistently book him, right, in important feuds, right? So I really would love to see this. I think that John Cena putting over Carmelo Hayes in his final match, like that right there, like that's what I want to see, because a win for Carmelo Hayes over John Cena in December would be huge. Could you imagine the reactions he would start to get? I feel like, he doesn't get the most reactions right now, but if you put him into a program with John Cena, a feud, and then have him beat John Cena, Like, he would get so much more reactions, and then you could really just leap from there. I would love this so damn much because, like I said, I want John Cena to put over a young superstar in his last match. I think Dominic Mysterio is a great option as well. But in my opinion, I think Carmelo Hayes needs it more than Dominic Mysterio. Because, like I said, Dominic Mysterio, he's the IC champion right now. He gets a bunch of reactions. So when it comes to comparing him and Carmelo Hayes would definitely be the one to benefit from this feud and match and beating John Cena way more. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up down below. Don't forget to comment down below what future videos you guys would like to see from me. Alright guys, peace.